back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. And finally, we've reached the peak of the mountain because this is WrestleMania week. Now, how we feeling, man? I want to know out there, how are y'all feeling going into WrestleMania? Because honestly, the consensus is, and personally, me speaking, man, it's weird because it doesn't feel like WrestleMania week, man. It doesn't feel like how it's supposed to. Because this year, the build and everything going into it hasn't really measured up. There's a few matches, there's a few rivalries and stories going into the big show. You know what I'm saying? This is a big show, and it just doesn't quite feel like it. You know what I mean? Even previous years with WrestleMania, there's been matches that people hasn't really cared about, like main event matches for the world titles. But the build up, the ambiance, the circumstance going into the show, it felt like it. You know what I mean? We have a generational feud going on between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. But the build, a lot of people been complaining, weirdly enough, there's a lot of people that don't like Cody Rhodes, which to me is like, wow, like, how do we get here? When just last year, 1 year ago, there was so many people clamoring and chanting and raving for Cody Rhodes to finish his story. Now, I don't put that on Cody Rhodes at all. I put that on booking, and that's the problem. That's the issue. The booking of this show, the storylines leading into the biggest show of the year, is not hitting, man. They're not hitting on all cylinders. So to me, WrestleMania week, we're going to tune in. We're going to tune in. But my expectations, my excitement is not up to par where I think it should be going into this show. You have a lot of matches, in my opinion, that's just been thrown onto it when there has been other stories building up for months that's not culminating at this show. To me, like, it just doesn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just not makes sense. You had the SmackDown, the WWE Tag Team Championships. You had all these teams feuding, fighting back and forth, only for it to be settled on SmackDown. Meanwhile, you put New Day in this thrown together match with the Viking Raiders when the New Day has been feuding with LWO for months, right? New Day has been getting cut off, not really getting paid their just due after just having an amazing heel segment with Big E with no payoff. Then for weeks, we don't see Viking Raiders. No contenders, no nothing. Then all of a sudden, New Day just challenged for the titles, and that match is put on WrestleMania? Why isn't that match on tonight's Raw? I think the Street Profits should be on WrestleMania. I think all the tag teams that was in that match, in that feud, should be on WrestleMania. Either you do a 5-team ladder match. Me personally, I would love to see a gauntlet match. So maybe start with a DIY versus Motor City Machine Guns, and then you get to a point where you could accommodate it in the end of the gauntlet, Motor City Machine Guns versus Street Profits. But for them, and then you don't have DIY on the show. You don't have like all these teams that's been building up. Motor City Machine Guns, who had a hot debut, became tag champs. Now they're not on WrestleMania either. It's just, man, it's WrestleMania. I'm going to tune in, man. I'm going to try to enjoy it. But I just felt like the excitement level going into WrestleMania is not there, right? Um, El Grande versus Rey Mysterio. Why is that on WrestleMania? Now get it, like they want to do the big unmasking of him and revenge of Chad Gable. They want to do like a big pomp of circumstance for that. And do I think Rey Mysterio should be on WrestleMania? Yes, he's a legend. We love Rey Mysterio. But man, I mean, like I said, LWO has been feud with New Day. Yeah, it's just, man, last year was leagues ahead of this year. So my only thing is, hopefully, coming out of WrestleMania, we have new stories. You're starting to build new stars and things like that, because we can't keep relying on old names. Kudos to Rey Mysterio. The John Cena's on his final leg. Randy Orton, is really on the tail end of his career. And it sucks that Kevin Owens got injured, because that was like one of the matches that everybody was looking forward to. Like I said, along with the Cody Rhodes, John Cena, along with the triple threat between Punk, Rollins, and Reigns. To me, Naomi Jade, that was a long-term feud, hitting another gear going into WrestleMania. The build between Bianca, Rhea, and Io has been sloppy and mishandled, in my opinion. Going into it being a triple threat. So hopefully, coming out of WrestleMania, there's more excitement. There's more stories coming out of it that should be built throughout the year, going into the summer and things of that nature. We need to start really building new stars. WWE has a lot of talent, right? And they're still signing more people, more returns to come. So we got to start seeing something else, right? Triple H, Head Booker. You got to start making these things make sense. You got to start, booking a beginning, middle, and end. There's no way a long feud. You just book these long-term feuds, and then there's no like definitive ending. Got to get it together. This is WrestleMania. This is the big show, and we all should be more excited, more anticipation going to this show, and there's just not that. And in conclusion, you have 7 matches on Saturday, which is night one, and then you only have 6 on Sunday. I mean, why not just add another match for Sunday and have 7 and 7? It's WrestleMania, right? Your normal pay-per-view is only 5 matches. So to add the extra 2 on a big show, is justified, in my opinion. So Saturday should have 7 matches. Sunday should have 7 matches. Because you have these long pre-shows and post-shows. Why not put a little bit more time and effort into your actual card? Just food for thought. So, let me know how y'all feeling. Comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. This is I Love Wrestling.